Welcome everyone to tutorial number 607. This is part 2 to our 607 tutorial where we created the 3D model for the hex nut. In this tutorial we will be covering how to create the drawing once you have your 3D model completed. So let's get started. First thing you want to do is go up to the new icon and click on new. Now you should have a window that looks something like this where you have part assembly drawing. So we have already created the part that is in tutorial 607. On this tutorial, we're going to do the drawing. So we'll select drawing and select OK. Okay, once you do that, you now have to determine what paper size you want to work with. For all the examples that I have online, they will all be under the ANSI landscape option. If you do not see this on your screen, if you don't have ANSI as the option, chances are you probably have this checkbox checked on. What you have to do is just check it off and it should give you a list for everything that you have available via SOLIDWORKS. There are other standards such as DIN, ISO, and if your setting is set to anything besides ANSI, ANSI will not show up. So for this example, we are using ANSI landscape. So select that and select OK. Now there's a different way of creating drawings, which was covered in tutorial number 608. On this one, we're showing you a second method. Okay, so what we want to do is we're basically opening right now a blank title block, a blank sheet, and we are going to add some views. So what you could do is you can always go up to here, view layout, model view, and if you don't have any models currently open on SOLIDWORKS, for example, if you don't have another model that's open besides this one, you'll see this box right here is empty. When it's empty, you hit the browse button and it will open up a box so that you can go locate your files. So for me, I have it stored under here. So I'm going to click on 607 and select open. Now, as you can see, my cursor now has like a rectangle attached to it. And it doesn't give you a preview of what you're bringing into the drawing. So you have to basically take your best guess based on how you modeled the part. Now, based on the size of the rectangle, it looks like this right here could be my side view. I want the top view, and the way that I modeled it, I know that my top view will correspond with the top view selection over here on this side where it says orientation. This is where you can pick and choose which view you want to present. So I'm going to select top view, and as you can see now the square looks a little bigger. So I'm going to drop the view right here. And as I scroll to my right, you'll see that it wants to place the right view. So once I do that, I'm going to drop the view right there. So the next thing I need to do here is I only want 2 views for this drawing. So I'm going to select the check mark to exit out. So before I get any further ahead, I do want to point out that the view that I'm trying to duplicate is something that we have on our website. So if you go to our website, which is somartech.com, and if you click on the download section, you'll see that we have a section here on the bottom with a couple of views, and we've added some packets here that you can download for free. So the one that I'm working on is packet number 600. So you can click on the image, it'll open up a packet that has instructions. As I'm scrolling down, I'm looking for the drawing that we're working on, which is towards the bottom of the list. And this is it. So I'm trying to basically replicate this drawing right here. Okay, I have a dimension here, the whole call out right here, and I have an angle, and I have a couple of other dimensions on the right side. So let's go back to SOLIDWORKS. Now the scale on our PDF shows it at 2:1 scale. So in order to change the scale, right click somewhere on your paper. Now make sure you're not over one of the views. Okay, so right click somewhere over here. We want to go to the properties of the sheet. It's not visible on this pull down list. So click on these 2 arrows towards the bottom. Once you do that, you'll see properties show up. And then in the properties window, you can always change the scale right here. So it's a 2:1. So change this to a 2. That one, leave it as a 1. Say apply changes. and you'll see that the scale got larger. Okay, so what I want to do is basically duplicate the dimensions that are on the PDF. So the easiest thing to do is click on the Annotations tab. You see Model Items, select it. And what we want to do here is, let's go ahead and pull this down where it says Selected Features and select the entire model. And that's the only thing we would like to change. Everything else should be a default unless you have your own settings set up. But the only ones that I want is basically this one. And then right here, it says Mark for Drawing. That one you have to make sure is selected as well. Everything else could be checked off. This one here for under the options, that's okay if you leave that one on as well. Use dimension placement in Sketch. And then just hit the check mark. And it'll add basically all the dimensions that you added onto all of your sketch to create the model onto the screen. There's the height of the nut right here, and then the height of that bearing area at the bottom. All right, so what we want to do next is we want to change these two dimensions over here to a 3-place decimal. So let's start off by clicking on this dimension first. When you highlight it, you'll see that on the left side of your screen, you'll get your dimensions properties. And under this option right here under tolerance and precision, you'll see a 0.12. Go ahead and click on this box and change it to 123, so it changes to 3-place decimals. And you'll see that it updates. So go ahead and hit the check mark to accept it. And then do the same thing for this one. Click on that value right there. Go to tolerance precision area and select 123. It changes it to a 3-point decimal, just like it shows on a PDF. At this point, hit the check mark. Now there's a couple more dimensions that you'll have on the PDF that you do not see currently on the screen. And even this one here looks a little different. So what we need to do is, for the ones that we don't see on our drawing that we do see on the PDF, we have to do it manually. So on that, just go ahead and click on the Smart Dimension button over here, or you can right click, hold it, and then move your mouse and you get the little wheel and then select the dimension icon. And what we want to do is just basically add the dimension for this edge right here, which is the diameter at the bottom. Just click on that edge, place your diameter over here. The other one that we're missing is the angle over here on this corner. So let's go ahead and click on this line. You'll see that it wants to dimension the edge of that line. But since we want an angle, the next thing we have to do is click on another line, which is right here, and you'll see that it converts into an angle. Okay, and I recommend this one. Depending on where you move your mouse, it'll give you a different angle. I want it to be 30, so I'm going to place it here, which is not exactly where I showed on the print, but then I'll just move it outwards after I accept which dimension I want to measure. Okay, and since this one is currently highlighted, let's go ahead and change the decimal places. On the PDF, we only have, actually on the PDF, we don't have any decimal places. So right here under tolerance and precision, select it and select none, and it will eliminate the decimal places. Now the only other one that I would like to change is this one right here. Now this one, if you have it on your screen, great. If you don't, then you don't have to do what I'm about to do next. I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna hit select, and I'm going to select it. Now this one here I want to hide because I want a little bit more information than just this. So I'm gonna right click, select hide. It doesn't delete the dimension, it just hides it. It makes it invisible. And then after that, let's go ahead and go up to the annotations, and you'll see right here there's a whole callout option. Go ahead and click it and then select the edge of the circle. And what it does, it gives you way more detail than what the original note had. So once you click there, you place your text right there, and if you notice, it gives you all the geometric relationships that were added whenever we use the whole wizard to create this here. So if you followed my original tutorial 607, you should get this exact call out that you see on screen. Now the only other one that we're missing here, it appears to be we're missing a center line on this view. So let's go to annotations, center line, and on center line, all you have to do is select two opposing edges and it'll find the center line in between them. So let's start off with this edge on the top, this edge on the bottom, and it will automatically find the center line in between them. Okay, that's how you add that center line. Now this one here, what I want is I want this to be a little larger. Okay, this one in my opinion is too small. So you can always grab the endpoints if you already have it on the screen, and just extend them outwards. Just click on the crosshairs, you'll see the endpoints highlight, and then you can just expand it out. Okay. Now the other thing is, if you notice here on the bottom, because when I did this one here, if you follow my original tutorial 607, you'll see that I added something what's called under the file properties, and under I added a description, I added the material you see right here, and I also added weight. So these values, this one right here, this one right here, and then this one right here, and even this one, are driven by the fact that I use this model to create the drawing. So these automatically populate, you don't even have to worry about it. And then the scale, the 1 scale was automatically generated when I did the file properties and I changed the scale for the whole sheet. So then this one is tied to that particular feature. The only thing that I'm missing, and that I've done on a different tutorial, which is tutorial 608, is I'm going to now add file properties to include a name, a date, and a revision. Okay, so in the sheet itself has a file properties option. So select it, and on here you'll see that you have already, for some of us, we may have already line 1 occupied. So we'll just start off on line 2. This one right here, don't worry about it, leave it. It doesn't affect you in any way. What I want to do here is I want to add my name to the title block. So if I click on the right side of this rectangle, or basically anywhere on this cell, you should get a pull down list. Select drawn by scrolling down towards the middle of the list somewhere. You see drawn by, and right here, just place your name. So for this example, I'll just put name and hit enter. Okay, and then for date, pull this one down again. You'll see one that says drawn date. So click on that. Now on this second column, for this particular row, I do want it to change to date. Okay, the other ones can remain as text. And the date for today is 1/30/2017. Hit enter, and you'll see it over here on the final column that it populates an evaluated value. Okay, so now on the 4th line for me, I'm going to select revision. Scroll down a little bit. Actually, let's see. No, I apologize. Revision is right here on the top of the list. And this is going to be revision 1. So type in 1, enter. Now let me scoot this over a little bit. And you can see there's nothing in this box, there's nothing in this box, and then there's nothing in this box. But the moment I hit OK, whatever I typed into the file properties will populate in here. So see, there goes name, which is what I typed, the date, and revision. So all these additional ones that you see here, I didn't include them on mine, but you're more than welcome to add them onto yours. You would have to create under the file properties a line for each one of those options in order for it to populate in there. Okay, so select OK. All right, so now as I comparing it to the PDF, it appears that we pretty much have everything included in terms of all the dimensions. There might be a little bit of cleanup. Let's see, if I click on the dimensions, you'll see that the extension lines go a little too far down. I'd rather them be a little higher up. So you can click on a dimension, you can see the endpoints of the extension lines highlighted. You can just move them up. Okay, if I click on this one, it's going to be similar. So I'll move this one up. Okay, and the angle might be similar, so I just click it and move it up a little bit. All right, and it gives you that little break in between the extension lines and the edges that, you know, make it look a little bit cleaner on your drawing. This one came out okay, so we're good there. All right, and that pretty much completes the exercise. We've added all the dimensions, we have all the views. I went into how to automatically populate some of these on the text box. Okay, and all you have to do at this point is just go to File, Save, and save it as 607. If you have any questions, please send us an email. We'll be glad to hear from you. And I hope this tutorial was useful. And I hope you guys come back for some more videos. So I appreciate your time and thanks for watching.